After a bunch of back and forth, Donald Trump is not going to be giving the State of the Union address on Tuesday, January 29th, in the House of Representatives, and it is absolutely delightful. Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, has succeeded in explaining to Donald Trump that ultimately it's up to her whether he gives the speech in the House of Representatives or not. And Donald Trump has conceded this. We'll get to his tweets a little bit later, but let me catch you up on the entire back and forth. It started with Nancy Pelosi sending an invitation letter to Donald Trump to come and give the State of the Union address. And this is sort of a formality, but it's also sort of not a formality because the Speaker of the House does have to invite Trump to speak before a joint session of Congress. The president can't just decide that he is going to speak on the floor of the House of Representatives. The president, I believe, has floor privileges at the U.S. Senate, which means he can get on the floor of the U.S. Senate, but that doesn't mean that he can just choose to speak there if not invited. And certainly he can't choose to speak on the floor of the House of Representatives either. So initially, Nancy Pelosi invited Trump. Then the shutdown happened, and Nancy Pelosi sent a letter sort of suggesting that it be postponed over security concerns because the federal government's partially shut down. These are these special national security events. And we were sort of reading between the lines. She's just saying, if the government's shut down, we're not letting you speak. But at least security was what was cited. And remember that the State of the Union can be given from anywhere. The Constitution says only that it needs to take place from time to time. Often it used to be done in writing. So there's nothing that says it has to be at the House of Representatives. It has to be in January or February. It usually is, but it certainly doesn't have to be. So Donald Trump, I guess, thought he was being brilliant by writing a letter back to Nancy Pelosi saying, I asked about the security. Security is going to be fine, so I still plan on speaking, and sort of calling Nancy Pelosi's bluff. And then Nancy Pelosi just wrote back saying no. She wrote back yesterday saying, I'm writing to inform you that the House of Representatives will not consider a concurrent resolution authorizing the President's State of the Union in the House chamber until the government has reopened. I support her in this. I think that this is great that she's, number one, not letting Donald Trump push her around. Given Trump's views on women and his views on his own sort of alpha male status, he is clearly triggered by potentially not getting his way. He wants to force his way into the House of Representatives, and she's not going to let him do it. And all along this process, he seemed not to understand that it's just not up to him. And now he finally does understand it. He's the president. He doesn't own everything. He's not used to being told no. He's certainly not used to women telling him no. And he doesn't want to seem like a loser, but he is accepting that he is not going to be allowed to give the State of the Union address. And one of the most important reasons, I mean, listen, there are these sort of personality dynamics. We don't want to give Trump the idea that he's in charge of stuff he's not in charge of and all of that. I don't want him spending an hour or an hour and 15 minutes or 45 minutes or however many minutes it is doing a build the wall rally. We just don't need that. OK, we just don't need the State of the Union address at all, really. I mean, government's been shut down for more than a month. We're the world's laughingstock. That's the State of the Union. And Donald Trump has accepted this. Donald Trump taking to Twitter late last night and tweeting, as the shutdown was going on, Nancy Pelosi asked me to give the State of the Union address. I agreed. She then changed her mind because of the shutdown, suggesting a later date. This is her prerogative. That's right. I will do the address when the shutdown is over. I am not looking for an alternative venue for the State of the Union address because there is no venue that can compete with the history, tradition, and importance of the House chamber. I look forward to giving a, quote, great State of the Union address in the near future. Pat, you know that this is not how Donald Trump talks. This is not how Donald Trump behaves. This is a Trump who is pretending to play nice because he's been told by advisors, you can't win this. Stop fighting it. Try to save face. He lost. Nancy Pelosi won. And I say good for her.
Yeah, total surrender here. I thought he would take his ball and go home. I thought maybe he would deliver the address from the Oval Office or just somewhere in the White House, or maybe he would hold a campaign rally and do it there. But no, I guess he wants to wait around, and I think this is the right decision, even if it takes another month or two before the government reopens.
What's also funny about all of this is that anyone who understands how this works knew that Pelosi would win on this one. And in particular, anybody who's been following how Nancy Pelosi hasn't been pushed around, she hasn't been bullied by Donald Trump into reopening government with money for the border wall. She is standing clear and saying, this is your shutdown. We said before we weren't going to give you money for the wall. We are still saying now we're not giving you money for the wall. This is your shutdown and you own it. If we saw her behavior there of not being pushed around, of course she wasn't going to be pushed around into letting Trump speak if she doesn't want him to speak while the shutdown is going on. And, he has this reputation that it's sort of an apocryphal reputation for being a great master negotiator. He seems to have negotiated himself out of his position from yesterday morning to this new one where he's saying Nancy Pelosi wins. Nancy Pelosi gets her way. And we will see how he ultimately negotiates himself out of his own shutdown that was totally optional. I look forward to that. The only downside is now we won't have a State of the Union live stream on Tuesday, which I was sort of looking forward to doing. But I have a feeling before it's all said and done, before the year is out anyway, we will probably get something that we can approximately call a State of the Union address from Donald Trump to analyze. One of today's sponsors is privacy.com/Pakman, which is a free service that I myself use. Really useful in many different ways. Takes just a few seconds to link your debit card to privacy.com. Then you can create virtual credit cards that are linked directly to your bank account, and you use those virtual credit card numbers to buy things online, which protects your actual debit card so that it's not spread all over the internet. And one of the best things about it is how their mobile app and browser extensions for Chrome and Firefox make it really easy to use. Let's say, for example, that I'm signing up for a David Pakman Show membership. In the credit card number field, I already see the privacy.com icon. I just click it, choose which of my virtual credit cards I want to use, and the credit card number, expiration date, and security code are automatically entered. I can put in any zip code I want, and I'm done. And if you try to use my credit card number that you just saw on the screen, it doesn't matter because I've already deleted that virtual card, and that's the beauty of privacy.com. There are a ton of advantages to using a free service like this. For example, you can sign up for as many free trials as you want, then just delete the virtual credit card you used and never worry about getting charged for it. It protects you from getting hacked. It protects you when companies are hacked, which happens all the time. It is all completely free. All you have to do is click the link under this video to get started. And for a limited time, they're giving everyone in our audience $5 towards your first purchase when you sign up using that link.